Hello everyone, this is Tommy from TOG7 and today I'll be doing a review on the recently released Black Panther movie. Now, for a long time now, the MCU has been producing groundbreaking movies about their characters, and the latest, which is actually the first MCU movie this year, is Black Panther. Now, produced by Kelvin Feige and directed by Ryan Coogler, this movie brings the MCU to the African continent and tells the story of a hidden technologically advanced nation known as Wakanda, as well as the rise of its king, the titular Black Panther. Now, before we get into this, let me be extremely clear. I don't know that much about the character itself based on the comics because growing up, the comics were really, really difficult to get hands on. So, all I know of the character itself comes from the extended universe, including Wikipedia, animated features, and of course, the previous Avengers and Captain America movie. So, it's with this little knowledge I'm doing the review. So, with all, well, let's get down to it. The movie follows Black Panther after the events of Captain America's Civil War as he becomes the new king of Wakanda and tries to decide the path his kingdom is going to be following, while facing threats both home and abroad and a mistake brought about by the sins of the previous king. Now, what makes this movie wonderful is that it tells this journey of a young man who suddenly finds himself king and is trying to decide if he wants to be a ruler or a warrior while knowing that he has no choice but to lead his people. Now, this story does an excellent job of telling this particular scene with fully fleshed out characters, wonderful and beautiful locations, intricate storytelling, and almost perfect pacing. As in, throughout this movie, you never feel that it's dragging or that it's trying to put you in a scene where you just want the movie to go on. It's actually told very well. The characters placed around Black Panther, who of course is played by Chadwick Boseman, consists of a row of fantastic actors that did an excellent job of bringing these characters to life. From his little sister Suri, or Shuri, depending on the pronunciation, who leads the Wakandan Science Division, to the head of his personal royal guard, a woman named General Okoye, as well as even characters played by Hollywood's heavyweights Angela Bassett and Forest Whitaker. These actors do a fantastic job. Now, all these characters, with the work of these actors, are heavily realized. They are full of depth, they are full of relevance, and they manage to stand out in the movie without actually stealing the spotlight from Chadwick Boseman's T'Challa. And this is a very difficult thing for the director to have accomplished because when you see these characters in action, you actually get off thinking that, man, this is another superhero team like the Avengers or the X-Men, but they are not a team. It's just a group of people that surround and support their king. And it's so wonderful that you actually want to see more of these characters, and I hope that with following movies we get to see more of them. Especially for me personally, General Okoye was like my hands down favorite character in the entire movie. Now, there's a strong focus on a nation doing nothing in a world that is basically going to chaos, and is one of the driving forces behind the story and the decision T'Challa has to make. Now, what I like about this is that it doesn't just mention this and try to push it on the audience. You actually have to get a feel of where it's coming from because in the course of the story, you are told the stakes of the story and you're told the decision he has to make, and you can see the advantages and disadvantages of both sides, and you kind of wonder, if it was me, I have no idea what I would do. But that's another thing that makes this story has weight because it has relatable situation that is actually based on things that happen around the world, though not in the realm of aliens invading Earth, if you get what I mean. But it gives the story itself depth, and it gives it relevance, and it makes the stakes high because you actually want to see what the T'Challa will decide. Now, another thing the movie produces, which is something that has always been a problem with every single superhero movie I've watched, is it presents a reliable and relatable villain. The villain, I'm not going to go into much spoiler since I actually want people to make their own decisions, but the villain in this movie has a relatable story. He has depth, and you actually get to understand why he's doing what he's doing, and you, to an extent, you actually agree with him, although not in the choices he takes, but in the emotion he feels that drives him to that state. And it's something that, as I said, superhero movies have really actually been suffering from, which is not a non-relatable villain or a villain you just want to kick his ass and move on. This one, you actually like him, and it actually draws emotion from you. And one of the things is how the whole thing is wrapped up. It's just beautiful. I won't spoil it, but you really, really, really need. All right. As an African-born person and born and raised, actually, I watch out for any representation of my people in any movie I watch, from normal conventional action movies to romance movies and drama, and now to the representation done so far by the MCU. Now, majority of the Marvel characters have been doing a lot of African mentions and representations in their movies, dating all the way from, I think it was Wolverine origin stories or something like that up till now. So far, the latest being in American Captain America Civil War itself, where they took a shot of Nigeria, Lagos. Now, MCU has been doing a wonderful job of this, but with this movie, they just blew me out of the park. Now, Wakanda is based on a royal system where a king rules his people, and the people are divided into different tribes. And early in the movie, when T'Challa goes through the sort of like a duel for him to become the new king, you see a representation of each tribe. And the funny thing is, each tribe is from the design right off, you can tell that they are actually based on actual African tribes in existence, and they are done so well as to mix the normal traditional look with modern day styles. The best presentation would be the River tribe, I think, in which someone wears a lip disc. I don't know the actual native name for that thing, and under it is wearing a suit, and that was just beautiful to me. And this kind of representation not only with the tribes and the characters, but as the setting, because it's set in a modern day metropolitan city, but with tribalistic and traditional people, both in the way of their dressing, the way of their movement, and just the way everything comes off, and it's beautiful. To be honest, you don't see this kind of synergy between traditionalism and modern society. I think the only movie that has ever been able to show a modicum of this is Thor's Asgard. Now, the another thing they did in the movie was they did this reference to actual African nations, both present nations, crises that the nations are going through, as well as they did a few nods to old African kingdoms, which in one particular scene in Europe. And personally, I'm from one of those nations, or I'm from one of those states as they now are, and I actually felt a sense of pride that where I come from was mentioned in the movie, and I know a lot of people from my part of the world actually did. And I give kudos to MCU as well as the director and the writers for putting this in. All right, like any movie that is produced, there are always mistakes that are made during the movie itself. While most of them are covered, we get to see a lot of them, and I hate to say it, but Black Panther is no different. Now, one of the things I noticed off the bat is, number one, Black Panther is a CG heavy movie. There are a lot of scenes that they did are pure CGI or mixture of the actors in the middle of a CGI environment, but there were particular scenes in the movie, particularly towards the end, that relied heavily on CGI, and I hate to say it, it's actually noticeable and it's a bit distracting. Not distracting enough to take out of the movie or the enjoyment of the movie itself, but you notice it and it kind of pulls your attention for a while. And also, there were a few battles in the movie. One is supposed to be a large scale battle, but it turns out to be a lot more scale than expected. Don't get me wrong, that battle is one of the best scenes in the movie. It's one of the best fight scenes in the entire movie, and it's wonderfully done. But you kind of want it to be larger. You want it to be large scale. You want to see entire armies or entire large groups, but you just see this really small scale between like two or three sets of people, and it's good, it's beautiful, it's wonderful. It actually has one of the best scenes by, as I said, my favorite character, General Okoye. It actually has one of our best scenes in the entire movie, but you kind of want it to be more. And this wanting to be more is what brings us to the third mistake I noticed, which is the location. Now, this is a mistake that has always been in every single superhero movie that I've seen based on a fictional environment in which they pick some particular shots of the place and you see these places. But when you are talking about a fully fleshed out environment, you want to see more. I remember I had this problem when I first saw Asgard in the Thor movies, and now I'm seeing the same problem with Wakanda. There are very, very good sceneries in the movie. They are extremely very, very detailed, very artistic and beautiful scenes, but you want to see more. You want to see more locations. You want to see more places, and they don't really show that much outside what they just close around like within the first 30 minutes, and they add a few scenes to it, and that's the end. And I hope that maybe with more Black Panther movies, because there are definitely going to be more Panther movies, we get to see more of Wakanda, because this is actually what I'm looking forward to. All in all, Black Panther is a fantastic movie, and since it's the first Marvel movie this year, it actually starts the year out with a bang. I hope that we can see more of this location, more of these characters, and I know we'll see some of them, at least some of them have been confirmed for Avengers Infinity War, and I actually hope that they will include more of them because I really want to see more of these characters. Currently, I don't have like a broken down rating system, but I'm going to give this movie a highly recommended status, which means that I'm basically recommending this movie for any movie lover, be they DC, Marvel, Japanese otaku, or just people who like movies. Go and see the movie. You won't regret it. It's worth every dime you are going to pay. And as I'm talking to you, I actually have plans to see the movie later in the week to see if I missed anything. So until the next movie, this is Tommy from TOG7 signing out. Take care. Bye bye.